legend and, after this story, hero to men everywhere, Ben Zobrist, who retired after a 14-year career in baseball, learned that his wife was having an affair with their pastor, and according to court documents that surfaced last week, the same pastor was accused of defrauding Zobrist's charity of apparently hundreds of thousands of dollars. The 40-year-old ex-infielder seeks $6 million in damages from Byron Yon, who is the pastor. He also is seeking money from the pastor for damages, for defrauding him, and, sleeping with his wife. But Zobrist is a two-time World Series winner. Like I said, Chicago Cubs legend, MVP with the Cubs for that World Series. Like he brought that city the championship essentially. So Ethan, not only did this guy defraud Zobrist's charity, not only did he make him question his faith in the Lord, but he also slept with his wife. What do you make of all this?
Zobrist is a saint, man. Like, he's a serious Christian. He loves his faith. He has a bunch of kids. I'm getting confused. He's a great guy. There's so many stories of him just being a sweetheart around the stadium, around the Cubs. He's a humble guy. He would ride his bike home and to and from home to stadium every day, Wrigley Field. Oh wait, there's Ben Zobrist on his bike, like fucking World Series MVP, just casually on the bike ride. Like, the guy's so humble. He's such a nice guy. He's always got a smile on his face. He was such a big part of not only the World Series win, but when he was with the Cubs, like he was always reliable. And you just it breaks your heart. Like, wow, like his wife, who is supposedly like a Christian rock genre, so she's supposed to be a good Christian, like went and slept with the pastor of all people. Like, not only that, like he's their counselor. He was their marriage counselor. Like,
right.
He was, and apparently, like, he's like, okay, you should give her some space. Like, that's what he would advise Zobrist, and like, yeah, so I could go sleep her on the side. Like, come on, dude, get out of here. Like, how you gotta do that? Yeah, it's awful. Like, literally, the scum of the earth, those two. Yeah. Like, and I know they were when these allegations. When the rumors first started to come out, I want to say it might have been 2019. If I remember correctly, Zobrist, he took the whole beginning of the year off. He didn't come back till maybe August or late July, because he was just he didn't want to be at the stadium because they broke his heart. Like, and there's a lot of rumors like, oh, she slept with a bandmate, she slept with an ex so. I did hear that, like, oh, she didn't sleep with the pastor. I was like, holy shit. Like, all of those, like, the fact that she was just sleeping around. Hang on. There's no noise. The fact that she was sleeping around, it's like, come on. Like, I guess really nice guys, they just can't get a win. Zobrist is the definition of a nice guy. And
man, that is it. See, it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. Yeah. The fact that it happened to such a nice guy, obviously. Yeah, and like, look, I'm not gonna. We don't know everything about their marriage or whatever, but like the optics of this are just. Oh my god, yeah. Shit.
They always look happy. They have like, I think the two of them for Halloween, him and his wife, and like at least his 3 kids. They all dress up as Power Rangers. Everyone's happy. They look like a perfect couple that actually want to be together, like, because they love each other. And then she's off doing who knows what, like on tour, like or with the pastor too. Yeah. So
man.
And then there was like some hope when he came back. Everyone was like, wait, okay, what song is he gonna play? Because his walk-up song was always one of her songs, Juliana. And I think that year it was like kind of a shitty version of Benny and the Jets. So literally it's just like the walk-up is her just screaming, yay! And then he comes back and everyone's like, all right, what song is he gonna play? What song is he gonna play? And it's Benny and the Jets. I'm like, oh, maybe they work things out. Maybe the rumors are wrong. Maybe,
I love how I love how you can tell like his relationship status by his walk-up song. Like that.
Right? Trust me, like, I love Chicago, but one thing, we are not good when it comes to rumors. We will like go to town on all the rumors. Like, just so maybe everyone's thinking, oh, maybe they worked it out, whatever. Maybe he's just being the better man, showing like being the better person. And then, the truth comes out a few years later. It's like, all right, cool. Yep, no, she's a bitch.
Hey, welcome back to the football show. We're keeping it real, goes right. Welcome back to Real Take Football Talk live here on YouTube. Welcome everyone who's joining us. Welcome everyone who's listening right now. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell where you get notified whenever a new video is released. Got so much to talk about today, and a lot of games to talk about as well. Week 3 has an amazing slate of games for us. We got oh my god, see? I'm already getting tongue-tied. I'm already getting weirded out, but it's Sunday. It's Sunday morning. You know what that means. It's time for football. A lot of good games here today. We got the Buccaneers taking on the Rams. We got the Saints taking on the Patriots. That should be a good one. And of course, in the 1 p.m. time slot, the 4 p.m. time slot, we have the San Diego Chargers of Los Angeles. They are still the San Diego Chargers, by the way, in case anyone's wondering. Taking on Kansas City Chiefs, Pat Mahomes versus Justin Herbert. That is going to be a matchup for the ages. It's going to be a matchup. It's going to be interesting to see if Justin Herbert can actually become what we think he is and can become the type of player that we think he is. The guy who can go toe-to-toe with a Pat Mahomes, who can possibly win if need be in those situations. So we're going to find that out today. We're going to find out a lot about that Chargers team today, how resilient they are, how good they are. And we're also going to find out, are the Chiefs maybe on a little bit of a downswing this year? That's also going to be a thing. They lost to the Ravens last week, so that's going to be a big thing to look out for and a big thing to see. Oh, there we go. As you can see, the Chiefs were right there. Anyway, so big slate of games. Of course, on Thursday Night Football, you can already put down one. That's one win for me. I went 12-4 in my picks last week. This week, you got the Chargers taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. The Arizona Cardinals taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Wonder who's going to win that one. Chicago will take on Cleveland. Washington football team is going to be going up to Buffalo. The 0-2 Indianapolis Colts, who are without Carson Wentz, will be playing the Tennessee Titans. A little good divisional game. If there's a game for the Colts to win, if they want to win, they got to win this one because you stay in the divisional hunt, you take down an opponent, you're both 1-2 at that point. Saints going up to New England, like I said. Falcons trying to get on track, and so are the Giants. But there's only one huge difference. The Giants could lose like the next 6 games and still probably be in the playoff hunt. Anyway, Bengals taking on the Steelers in a big divisional matchup for that AFC North. Ravens taking on a very, very resilient and tough Detroit Lions team. The New York Football Jets taking on the Denver Broncos. Broncos 2-0, undefeated right now. And the Miami Dolphins taking on the also undefeated Oakland Raiders of Las Vegas. I don't care. They're still the Oakland Raiders. They will always be the Oakland Raiders until they win. Of course, I mentioned Tampa Bay, and Tampa Tom will be taking on the Los Angeles Rams. And the Seattle Seahawks are going to be going up to Minnesota to beat, yes, I'm already going to claim that one, beat the Minnesota Vikings. Nightcap, Green Bay Packers taking on the very tough San Francisco 49ers team. That's going to be an interesting game to talk about. It's going to be an interesting game to see what happens in. But yeah, so a lot of that stuff going on. A lot of news to talk about as well. We'll get to that in just about a second. But if you haven't already, guys, as always, please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. We got daily videos on various different topics, but also football, also wrestling. So much to do, so much to see. So what's wrong with liking, sharing, and subscribing? I'm a shill, I know. Anyway, so as I was saying, let's start off talking about that Chiefs Chargers game, because that's a game that I think a lot of people are going to have their eyes on. That's a game that a lot of people want to see, what the outcome is, because we want to know what are the Chargers, because the Chargers were a young team last year with Justin Herbert at the helm. They had some good wins. They had some shortcomings, but the potential was there. Both teams entered this game 1-1. Of course, they play in the AFC West, not the NFC West, like that graphic says. But regardless, that this is going to be a team in the Chargers rather, that the Chiefs have got to watch out for, not just this year but for years to come. And if the Chargers want to start proving that they are the big dogs of this division, or they want to compete as big dogs of this division, they're going to have to prove it today. This is a huge game for the Chargers. They got the Chiefs coming off of a loss, which, in case you don't know anything about the Chiefs don't lose after a loss. They're not one of those teams who's gonna job right after a loss. They don't lose 2 in a row like that very often. That being said, I do think that there were some holes in Patrick Mahomes' game last week. There were some holes in his this defense rather last week that I think could be exploited by the Chargers. They have Austin Eckler, who is a quality running back. He's someone who I think can run. The Chiefs were not able to stop the running back, whether he was coming out of the backfield or whether he was catching passes out of the backfield against the Ravens. They were not able to stop that run game. That Chiefs run game is not good. We saw a lot of bad stuff from them last week, but at the end of the day, this is going to come down to not if the Chargers stay in it, because the Chargers have the firepower to stay in it. I trust Justin Herbert. I trust all of them. It is about that defense. It is about, is the Chargers defense going to be able to withstand that offensive onslaught that they are going to get. They play 2 times a year. They play tough 2 times a year. With that being said, for the Chargers, if not now, when? But for me, it's not going to be right now. I got Chiefs winning this game, and I got them winning 35-28. I think it's going to be a touchdown game. Pat Mahomes, if he gets the ball last, he's going to win. We've seen that before. We've seen it time and time again. If Pat Mahomes gets that ball at the final possession, there's no bones about it. There's no question about it. They are winning that football game. Moving on. Let's move on and talk about another 1 p.m. game that a lot of people were talking about, and that is as I pull it up right here, that is the Titans. The Tennessee Titans, who are going to be taking on their in-divisional rival in the Colts. So the Colts are going to be going up, or down rather, to Nashville to play this game. Carson Wentz is going to play. His status was in doubt for that game. However, he is now going to play. And the Titans look to improve to 2-1 after a monster rushing performance by the beast, Derrick Henry. They look to kind of capitalize on that, try to get their offense going. The question is for the Titans, are they going to be as consistent this season as they were last year? Because we saw in week 1, that was not the same team we saw in week 2. And when you got questions like that about your consistency, that's when your position as not only a contender but as a playoff team really comes into doubt, in my opinion, because you can be great on paper. You can be great in execution, but you have to be both at most of the time throughout the year, or at all times, rather, throughout the year, if you want to be a real contender. This team has the firepower. They have Julio Jones. Ryan Tannehill is getting better. Derrick Henry is the best running back in the game right now. So you have all these factors working against you. That defense, it's a little suspect. I'm not going to lie. The back end, especially of that defense, that secondary is not that good. The Colts could have a very good game. I think Carson Wentz has the potential to have a very good game today because of how bad that secondary is. That Colts defense can be stout. But I think this game is going to come down to that Colts defense. If that Colts defense is going to be what we saw the past few weeks, that Titans defense. If that Titans defense, as I'm getting all my teams mixed up, if that Titans defense is exactly what we saw last week, there's no way that this team is going to win. I'm going to give this to the Colts, though, because they are coming off of 2 losses. I don't think they lose 3 in a row right now, especially with Frank Reich. That's not what he does. That's not his MO. I got Colts winning this game 28-24, going down to Nashville. And it's going to be a tough game. Not going to lie. It's going to be a tough game for the Colts, but if any team can do it right now, if any coach right now can do it, it's definitely Frank Reich. Moving on. Let's talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars, who will be hosting the Arizona Cardinals. So the Cardinals obviously entered this game They've got some good wins. They got a win up in Minnesota last week. They had that 5-sack game from Chandler Jones. They are really good right now. It's a battle of number 1 overall picks. The 2019 number 1 overall pick in Kyler Murray, going to be taking on Trevor Lawrence, who was number 1 pick obviously this year. Lawrence has had a very tough start to his NFL career. The Jaguars have had a very tough start to the season. Now, does that mean that this is how it's going to be the entire way through? Absolutely not. Because one thing you saw from Trevor Lawrence the past few weeks, that Jacksonville Jaguars team is absolute hot garbage. It is not a good football team. It is not. They try. They go out there and they try. And if the NFL had participation trophies, Jacksonville will get one, but they're just not a talented football team from top to bottom. I think that Trevor Lawrence has showed poise, though, in those situations he's been put in. You know, he throws some interceptions, but he comes right back and throws some touchdowns. He's shown that he won't let this stuff phase him, and it's not phasing him. There's a lot of Trevor Lawrence haters, especially on this channel, who want to say, oh, well, he's a bum. No, he's not a bum. He's going out there on a bum team and playing the most important position on a bum team. And you know, he's surrounded by people who just aren't as talented as the teams he's facing. The Cardinals, on the other hand, they've got a lot of talent. They have one of the most dynamic players in the NFL in Kyler Murray. They have, arguably, in my opinion, the best wide receiver in the NFL in DeAndre Hopkins. I take him over everybody. And on top of that, you got a stout defense led by Chandler Jones and them boys who are going to make Trevor Lawrence's life miserable today, because that Jags offensive line is not good. Trevor Lawrence is going to be running for his life today, and it's going to be sad. One way the Jags could mitigate this is by running the football with your guy last year in Robinson. James Robinson, someone who last year a lot of people thought was in the running for Rookie of the Year, as an undrafted rookie free agent, had over 1,000 yards. Maybe, and he also had, I believe, 500 receiving. Maybe you use that guy to the best of his ability to help out your young QB instead of throwing it 60 times per game, Urban Meyer and Charlie Strong. Come on. Not that hard. Maybe you help him out. If the Jags can get a running game going, this could be an upset, but I'm not taking it as my upset this week. I got the Cardinals winning this fairly easily. I'm going to say 27-14. I just think the Cardinals are just a better all-around football team. I just don't think there's a question about that. I think that the Cardinals are going to be a special team. They're going to be a team that could make a run for it this year, and a legitimate one at that. Not just one of those like, oh, you know, they go like 14-2, or this year I'd say like 14-3 because there's 17 games, and you know, be one and done in the playoffs. They are, if they get in, they are dangerous. They are very dangerous. Moving on, let's talk about the Chicago Bears taking on the Cleveland Browns. So the Browns are going to be hosting the Bears, and what is going to be Justin Fields, rookie, I believe 11th overall pick. Justin Fields' his first official NFL start for the injured Andy Dalton. Cleveland looking to improve on their 1-1 record. Justin Fields looking to get this starting job, because this is like the ultimate audition. I always said that I had Justin Fields playing by week 3. If Justin Fields plays well in this game, you can rest assured, no matter what happens to Andy Dalton. Again, Andy Dalton's a great guy, but no matter what happens, if he gets better, Justin Fields is going to be the guy. Because you don't pick a guy like that and start him just to bench him. You don't pick a guy that high. You don't trade up for what you traded up for and bench him if he plays good. You're going to play him. And especially if you're Matt Nagy and you're having a tough start to the season and you know you're on the hot seat, you know you might get fired, you know you're probably going to get fired, the fans don't want you, the GM's on thin ice, everyone in that organization is on thin ice. How do you save your job? You start the rookie who can make your team better. Justin Fields can do things to get outside the pocket, to avoid the rush because you have a bad offensive line. He can extend plays. He's got a cannon of an arm. His ability to read defenses is better than what I believe people think it is, because there's this trope about him that he can't read defenses, which is asinine. But we're going to find out what happens. He's going up against a stout Browns team that is a battle-tested team, a good defense. Browns offense can be inconsistent, though, as we know, especially the passing offense can be very inconsistent. Sometimes Baker Mayfield's great, sometimes not so much. Running game, A1. That being said, I do have this as my upset pick for this week. I have the Bears winning this game, and I got them doing it behind Justin Fields, who is, I think, going to have a very good performance in this game, running the football and passing the football. He's going to surprise a lot of people today. I got the Bears in this 20-17 over the Cleveland Browns. Fight me, Cleveland fans. Fight me. Let's keep it going. Actually, before I do that, let's actually read out. There's a list of actives and inactives. Oops, that I want to read out real quick as I drop my my handy dandy phone. So this was a big week for injuries. We know week 2 was a big week for injuries, but look at some of the players around the league who were injured. Players out on Sunday include Andy Dalton, Tua Tagovailoa, T.J. Watt, Deontay Johnson, Russell Gage, Jamie Collins. For the Baltimore Ravens, you got Ronnie Stanley, who's out with an injury, and then they had a COVID outbreak this week. Justin Houston, Brandon Williams, their star defensive tackle, and Justin Matabuke, another defensive tackle for them, are going to be out. They are very thin at the defensive tackle position. On top of that, around the league, Anthony Barr, Rashad Penny, Tevin Coleman, Antonio Brown for the Bucs, JPP, Jason Pierre-Paul, and JaMycal Hasty for the 49ers out. So a lot of injuries around the league this week, people, and a lot to. Oh, did my thing just freeze? Yep, it did. Whoopsies. We're gonna fix that real quick. My bad. Yeah, there we go. I don't know why that froze. Sorry. But a lot of injuries around the league, and a lot of people are talking about how, for some reason this season might be less safe than others. A lot of people are talking about how for some reason these injuries keep happening, they keep popping up, and are some of these players going to make it to through 17 games? You can argue, well, a lot of them aren't, but you got Christian McCaffrey on Sunday night getting injured. You had DJ Horn or JC Horn getting injured for the Carolina Panthers on Thursday night. There's a lot of injuries around the league, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's maybe we're in a position where the trainers just aren't as good as they used to be, but the injuries are a problem because these aren't just, injuries happen, right? For them to happen to these amount of players and these amount of star players throughout the league this early, it's concerning. It is very concerning. That's when you got to take into account, what is the training regimen? Well, what are the conditioning of some of the players around the league, And this isn't just for the sake of football. It's also for the sake of their own health. So a lot of questions about that this week, and understandably so. People should ask questions about that. Moving on. Let's talk about the Washington football team, who are going to be taking on the Buffalo Bills. So Washington is coming off of that big Thursday night win last week over the New York Giants, are going to be taking on the Buffalo Bills. They're going to be going up to Buffalo. Josh Allen is looking to come back or looking to win 2 in a row for them. Taylor Heinicke looking to prove that he is the guy who many thought he was, or something like that. But it's going to be an interesting game to watch. Washington defense is very stout, but Bills offense, I think, is going to be too much for them. I got the Bills in this one, and I think it's going to be closer than the game is going to be closer than the final score. That's what I will say about this game. I think the game is going to be closer than this final score is going to be. I got the Bills in this one, 31-20. I just think the Bills are going to be too high-powered on offense. And Taylor Heinicke, prove me wrong, buddy. Prove me wrong. Moving on, let's talk about the next game. The next game on this list that I totally have up. The Patriots are going to be hosting the New Orleans Saints. Now, New Orleans, interesting. Week 1, Jameis Winston comes in there, and he does great. Jameis Winston comes in there and he throws 5 touchdowns. Only throws for like 140 yards or whatever, but throws 5 touchdowns. People are like, oh, he got the LASIK. Jameis is the guy. Jameis is he's fixed. He's not going to be throwing no more interceptions. And then week 2 comes around, right? 5 touchdowns in the first week. Week 2 comes around, and what happens, people? We get the return of Chef Jameis and his world-famous apple turnovers. The apple turnovers are back and better than ever because, as we saw last week in the Saints game against the Carolina Panthers. So I don't know what the Saints are. I genuinely don't know what this team is. Because one week, Jameis is throwing for 5 touchdowns and running the ball very well. Next week, they're not doing anything. Had 7 points the whole game. So I don't know what this is, but you can rest assured that if anyone's going to take advantage of some of these early season, these early season mess ups, these early season hiccups for the Saints, it's going to be a coach like Bill Belichick. He's going to put his team, he's going to put his quarterback in the right position. I got the Patriots winning this one. I got the Patriots because I know what the Patriots are. They are a team that plays well. They are a team that puts their players in the best position, maximizes their strengths, and minimizes their faults, who manage the game and are very methodical. That's what the Patriots are. They try to play good defense, methodical on offense, and don't make mistakes. I can't say the same thing about the Saints. Saints can be explosive. Callaway's a great receiver. Michael Thomas, when he's healthy, is a good receiver. And Jameis, though, Kamara is a great running back, but Jameis, I just don't see it. I don't see it in Jameis. I think Taysom Hill is going to be starting by sometime by the middle of the season. Before week 8, I think they're going to switch over to Taysom Hill because Jameis Winston is going to be exactly who we thought he was. And that's not something I necessarily want to happen. I don't hate Jameis Winston. That's just what I think it is. I think that's what the situation is. I think Jameis Winston is a fine quarterback. I just think Taysom Hill gives you a better chance to win, make less mistakes, and be more dynamic on offense. But we'll see what they end up doing. That's going to be very interesting to see. Let's see. So Saints Patriots. I'm gonna go Patriots here, obviously, and I'm gonna go low scoring here. I'm gonna go Patriots 17-10. I think it's gonna be a touchdown game, not too much scoring, but I got Patriots there by a touchdown. Let's keep it going. Talk about the next game on our list. That is the Atlanta Falcons, who are going to be hosting the New York Football Giants. Giants played a very good game. Daniel Jones played a very good game last Thursday night against Washington, and if that defense didn't buckle at the last drive, probably would have won that game. On the flip side, the Falcons just look like a team that are just, they don't want to be out there. That's just one of those seasons for Atlanta. It's another one of those seasons for Atlanta. You can tell they don't want to be out there. You can tell that his team just doesn't have the talent to compete. Not compete, but they just don't got it. They just don't got it this year. They know they don't got it, which makes it worse. And they're not playing like a team that, there's a lot of untalented teams out there that play with like a like mentality where it's like, okay, whatever. We know we're not going to make the playoffs, but we're going to play aggressive and we are going to punch you in the mouth. That's not what this team is. This team is just like, oh, we suck. That's what the Falcons are this year. Again, these are two teams that I'm not really high on. I think by default, I'm picking the Giants here. And it's only because I think Daniel Jones he proved to me that he's not necessarily the problem in New York. He's not the right quarterback to be in New York, definitely, because he's not a franchise quarterback. He's a good game manager, but he's not the franchise. I got the Giants and Danny Dimes dropping dimes over the Atlanta Falcons. It's going to be the big win for them this week. I got Giants in this. I'm going to say 27-13. Sorry, Atlanta. It's just one of those years that we've all been through them. You guys have been through them a lot more than we have, and down here in Baltimore. But yeah, them's the breaks, kids. I don't know how to tell you. I don't know how else to tell you. That's just how it is sometimes. Anyway, Bengals will be taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Big divisional matchup here. The Bengals, obviously, they got a big win over Minnesota in week 1. They couldn't say the same the next week, but interesting game here. Interesting game. Joe Burrow is back, and he's looking really good. Joe Burrow this year is looking elite. Joe Burrow is looking elite, and he's playing like the best of them. He's playing with the best of them. Who's not playing like the best of them, though? Big Ben Roethlisberger. Not having a good start or having a very inconsistent, rather, start to his season. Played bad in the beginning of that Buffalo game, then played kind of well, and then week 2 they just shot the bed. Not a good game for them, but I got so again, these are two teams that are in my division, so I know there's faults between both of them. The offensive line for the Bengals is still a problem. I think it's going to be less of a problem today because TJ Watt is not in the starting lineup. TJ Watt is out for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's going to make Joe Burrow's job a lot easier. That's going to make the Bengals' job a lot easier today with TJ Watt not in the lineup. I think they're going to be able to exploit that. They're going to be able to exploit a Pittsburgh secondary that doesn't do well with the deep ball. I think you got Jamar Chase. Use him. He can finally see the ball. Thank God, Jamar Chase can finally see the ball. that's a big revelation I found out last week. But I'm gonna go here with the Bengals. I think the Bengals are finally gonna get this dub here over the Steelers, and a big one at that. And we're gonna see the next step kind of being taken by Joe Burrow and them. And we're going to see the Steelers kind of regress because the Steelers are a team that are in decline. It's just not their time right now. So I'm going to go Cincinnati here because I think Joe Burrow is going to be in less trouble than he was before. I'm going to go Cincinnati here. I'm going to go fairly big here. I'm going to go Cincinnati because they're able to score some points. Cincinnati 31, Pittsburgh 23. I'm going to say 8-point game right there. Because I just think the Bengals are a lot better than their record is, or than a lot of people think, and that's a team that plays hard. They know how to play the Steelers too, so that's gonna be to their advantage. Moving on, let's head up to Detroit, where the Ravens, my Baltimore Ravens, are gonna be taking on the Detroit Lions. Baltimore coming off that huge, massive win over Kansas City last week. Detroit, a tough team. Probably the toughest 0-2 team, in my opinion, there is in the league right now. This is a team that is going to be in it till almost the very end. They are competitive. They're not afraid. They're like one of those teams. They might not be as talented as everybody else, even though they have some talent, but they are not afraid of anyone, and that makes them dangerous. That has had them in games like the game last week against the Packers, like the game the week before against the 49ers. They're not afraid. And Baltimore plays the same way. The problem is Baltimore just has an overwhelmingly more amount of talent. So something's got to give in this game. At the end of the day, the Ravens' offense is just too dynamic for them to stop. The Ravens' running game is just too dynamic for them to stop. They're not going to be able to do that. Will they be able to keep up? Yes, but I think the Ravens are going to be able to put the pedal to the metal just enough in the fourth quarter to win this game. Don't sleep on the Lions. Do not sleep on the Lions because they might not even be a playoff team this year. And again, it's a long season. You could be 0-3 and we still have, remember, 14 games to go. But this is a team that's going to be sticking around and being a thorn in the side of NFL teams throughout the entire season because they are well coached, they play well, they play tough, and Jared Goff, for as much as he gets, like, oh, Jared Goff's a bum. He's the worst one I heard. Oh, Jared Goff's a bust. Fuck out of here. Jared Goff is not a bust. Jared Goff is better than most number one picks picked before. Right after him. Look at 2017. Look at the 2017 draft. Jameis Winston. Who are you taking? Jameis or Jared Goff? I'm taking Jared Goff. Not even a question about it. Jared Goff, look at the way he played. Like, oh, people want to say, oh, it was all Sean McVay. Dude, he had to go out there and execute it. Jared Goff might be, you know who Jared Goff is? Jared Goff is Alex Smith, but he has a better arm. That's what Jared Goff is. And if he plays well, if there's pieces around him, he's got Penei Sewell, who is, in my opinion, one of the best offensive tackles to come out in the draft in a very long time. And he's playing well. All that talk about Penei Sewell's not going to be able to start. He's not going to be able to win the starting job. All bull crap. Penei Sewell's there. Detroit's got to be in this game till the end. But I got to go with Baltimore because of that running game, because of, I think that big win last week kind of rallied the team, motivated the team. I'm going Baltimore here, and I'll go 33-25. It's going to be one of those weird scoring games. I don't know if that's scoregami. I hope it is. I doubt it, though. That seems like Doesn't seem like a normal score, but it doesn't seem like that obscure of a score. But someone let me know if that's a scoregami. Anyway, let's go to the home stretch here as the New York Football Jets are going to be taking on the Denver Broncos. Zach Wilson had a terrible game. Sorry. Zach Wilson did have a terrible game. But the New York Jets had a terrible game around Zach Wilson as well. I don't want that to be lost. Zach Wilson obviously threw 4 interceptions. That's what everyone's talking about. What people are not talking about, however, is that the Jets are a dumpster fire of a franchise. They haven't been able to develop a quarterback before. They're not going to start now, apparently. They're going to throw him to the Wolves, let him fail, and then ruin his confidence. Have him go somewhere else and be successful. Look at Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold went to Carolina, right? And after that, they're starting 3-0. They're 3-0 right now. They're 3-0. Carolina, and when Sam Darnold won on Thursday night, what did he do? He went on the Thursday Night Football set after the game. He's the big winner, player of the game, whatever. And they ask him a question about New York, and he just says, I don't want to talk about it. I don't talk about New York. He doesn't care about New York because the second he got the New York Jets franchise out of his hair, the second he got the taste of that franchise out of his mouth, he was done. He said, I'm done. And like he said, I'm going to be exactly who people thought I was. And he's a great fit down there. I think he's going to be successful. I think Zach Wilson has the potential to be successful, but he's one of those guys who you have to develop. He is a prospect, not a prototype. That's the problem that I had throughout the draft process. I feel like people were over-evaluating Zach Wilson, who has a great arm, who throws the ball with great velocity. He can be in this league for a long time. The problem is you are abusing him. You are and letting him get abused there on the football field, and he's going to get abused here by a tough Denver front seven, a tough Denver team that started the season 2-0, playing good football. Teddy Bridgewater's a maniac. Teddy Bridgewater doesn't turn the ball over. This Broncos team, they have like 4 number 1 wide receivers, as Ravens flock likes to remind me all the time. Everyone other than the Ravens have like 18 number 1 wide receivers somehow, even though you're only allowed to have 11 players on the goddamn team. But you know, like they have weapons. The Jets don't have the firepower on defense to stop it. They don't have the firepower on offense to deal with it. I think it's gonna be another tough game for Zach Wilson. The best case for Zach Wilson, man, they just take him out of the game. Let him learn. Let him progress. Let him get acclimated to the game. Put someone in who can take the fall basically for most of the rest of the season, because he's not going to be able to withstand this. You will shatter his confidence. You will shatter his confidence. I got a lot of shit from Jets fans, by the way. I got a lot of shit from Jets fans for a video I made last week where I said that Zach Wilson could be the next Josh Rosen, and again. People do what they do online. They gaslight themselves somehow. They end up gaslighting themselves because they don't listen to what you said, right? They just take the one thing you said, like, oh my God, I'm on the internet and I'm mad about it. Like, right? So they were giving me guff about that. What I said was that you will ruin his confidence if you keep him playing him on this terrible, trash, dumpster fire, dirty franchise. Yes, dirty franchise. You keep playing him on this team, he's going to be ruined like Josh Rosen was. His confidence is going to be shot like Josh Rosen's was. His opportunities dwindling like Josh Rosen's are. Don't tell me that the Jets aren't a good team. Don't tell me that they are putting him in a best position to win. They are not. They're not putting him in the best position to succeed. They're putting him in a position where he is bound to fail. There's no way he can succeed. Because I like Zach Wilson. He's not Tom Brady. I like Zach Wilson. He's not Kyler Murray. I like Zach Wilson. He's not Justin Herbert. I like Zach Wilson. He's not Josh Allen. He's not any of those guys. He is a prospect. Treat him like one. Give him the care and attention he deserves. Let him learn. Let him understand the way the NFL works. Don't put him in a situation where you know he's going to fail. It's a waste of your number 2 overall pick. It's a waste of a year of Robert Saleh's head coaching career. It's a waste of his career. Broncos, obviously, Broncos 25-10. So yeah, Jets fans, eat that. So sick of you guys gaslighting yourselves. You guys gaslight yourselves online, by the way. All of you. You gaslight yourselves online. Stop it. Stop it. Miami is going to be taking on the Raiders, by the way, as I've lost every single Jets fan I ever had. Although I didn't really have many to begin with. There were just a bunch of people who complained on the videos. But Miami Dolphins, without Tua Tagovailoa, are going to be taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. Vegas goes into this game undefeated. Jacoby Brissett will start for the Miami Dolphins. Yeah, Brian Flores is a great coach, but it's tough. It's tough. I like Jacoby Brissett, but he's not gonna be too much of a game changer for them. Miami needs to win this game, but Miami needs to win this game, but I just don't. I don't see it happening. Although this is another one where I'm kind of torn because I don't think the Raiders are as good as their record is. If I'm being honest, there's some clear holes on that team, especially on their defense. I think there's some holes, but I haven't even decided about this one. That's the reason. Because I just think with Tua out, I can't go with them. I like Jacoby, but with Tua out, I'm not going to go with Miami. I'm going to go Las Vegas here, and I'm going to go Las Vegas 31, Miami. They got shut out last week, didn't they? Yeah, 30. I'm going to go Las Vegas 31, Miami. I'll be generous and give them 14. Them's the breaks, Miami. That's what happens when you don't protect your star quarterback or the guy who you think is going to be a star quarterback. Who I think could still be a star quarterback. But that's neither here nor there. Anyway, keep it going as we come down to the last 3 games of the day. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tampa Tom. Oh, sorry, wrong graphic right there. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tampa Tom are going to be taking on the Los Angeles Rams in a this is going to be a good game. You got 2 of the most high-powered offenses in the NFL today. Antonio Brown for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is out. That's going to be something to keep an eye on. They still got Gronk, though. They still got Mike Evans. They still got Godwin. They are going to be fine. On the flip side, this Rams team, that defense, it's going to be the biggest test for this Bucs team, I think, the entire year. The outside of the Carolina Panthers who are in the division. This is going to be the biggest test for the Tampa Bay Bucs. And I got the Rams winning this. I believe in Matt Stafford. I believe in Aaron Donald. More than I believe in what this Tampa Bay team can do right now. I think this defense is going to get after Tom Brady. He's going to get a little rattled. We saw that last year a little bit at the beginning of the season. We've seen that throughout his career. When Tom Brady gets pass rush in his face, when he gets rattled, he's a different guy. And I think the Rams can do that with Aaron Donald and them boys. And we know that Matt Stafford and this offense have the firepower to really put up points in this game. I think it's going to be high scoring. I'm going to go the Rams here, 42, and Tampa Bay 35. I'm going to say by a touchdown, high-scoring game. I think that the firepower, like I said, it's there for both teams, but one team in the Rams is just going to be able to execute better. Matt Stafford has a cannon. Not that Tom Brady doesn't, but Matt Stafford has an absolute cannon. Going down to the last 2 games, we have the Seattle Seahawks who are going to be taking on the Minnesota Vikings, who have been losing in the past few weeks in very, very stereotypical cowboy fashion. And I'm not talking about Cowboys like the movies. I'm talking about Dallas Cowboy fashion. Seattle's the better team. They're just a better team. They can close. And the Vikings can't, and that's what it comes down to. No matter how good the Vikings are on paper, and no matter how good the stats can be for Kirk Cousins, he's just not a closer. He's not clutch. Russell Wilson is. So I got Seahawks in this, and it's going to be, I want to say it's a close game because that's all the Vikings and Seahawks compete in this year, but it's either going to be a game where the Vikings, or it's going to be close and Vikings can't close and the Seahawks win, or it's going to be a game where the Seahawks just prove they're the better team and the Seahawks win. Either way, the Seahawks win. I'm going to go with the latter. I'm going to go with the Seahawks winning and I'm going to say by 20. I'm going to say 23-14. Yeah, that's my gut right there. That's what my gut says. You know what else my gut says? It's Sunday night. You know what that means. We got Sunday Night Football on NBC. Al, Chris, and Michelle are the best on TV. The 1-1 Packers are going to be taking on the 2-0 San Francisco 49ers. 49ers playing really good behind Jimmy G. Jimmy G, I think, has solidified himself as when he's there and not injured. He's a very good quarterback. Sometimes a great quarterback. Aaron Rodgers had that big bounce-back game that the Packers needed, really, for their momentum and their morale against the Lions. He had a very good game. Good defense versus great defense versus great offense. You know, like a great game or a good game managing offense, like run the ball, good on play action offense versus not that good of a defense, for being honest. I think the San Francisco 49ers are going to be able to put up some points on this team. Genuinely, I think the San Francisco 49ers are going to be able to put up points, stay competitive in this game. But what I will say is the difference in this game is going to be the quarterback and the running game. And because we know the Packers have a running game, we know the Packers have Aaron Rodgers. Jimmy G, when he has a good running game, can be great. I just don't know what that running game is right now. It's going to be better than it was last week against the Packers. I can rest assure you that with Elijah Mitchell and those guys there and Trey Sermon. I just think the difference is going to be the quarterback. Even though I like Jimmy G, I'm a huge Jimmy G defender, and I get a lot of flack for that. But I think he's better than what people give him credit for, especially when healthy. When he's healthy, I think he can be some of the best. But let's see. Let's see. I'm still thinking about this. Give me a second. I'm still thinking about this. This is the toughest game for me to decide. I don't know. You guys tell me what you think, but you know what? We're gonna hammer down. All right. Did I just use a Pat McAfee reference? Hammer down on the 49ers in what probably should be an upset, but also not, because the 49ers are a damn good football team. I'm going to go 49ers here, Sunday Night Football, Jimmy G. Prime time Jimmy G is a different animal. I'm going to go 49ers. I'm going to go big. 49ers, 35, Packers. I'm not going to go that big. 49ers, 35, Packers, 34. Close game. Because that's how close it was for me on paper. But that's how it is. That's what it is right now. Let's see. So, yeah, I think that was about it. We just covered each game for this Sunday. I just guessed all the scores. Last week was 12-4. Hopefully I can get this going. Maryland, legalize gambling already, please. It's like, nah. It's like, gamble responsibly, by the way. If you're into that kind of thing. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. Very interesting game to see. I will go. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing here. Let's go over some news, guys, because there was some big news in the NFL today. As Adam Schefter, they just go to Adam Schefter's Twitter page right now. So we got some news here. Eli Manning is going to be inducted into the Ring of Honor for the New York Giants, officially retiring his number 10 jersey at halftime of today's game. If anyone deserves it, it's definitely Eli. He is definitely the best quarterback in Giants history. Very underrated quarterback. Had some mess seasons, but he's great, knowledgeable, good guy. Glad he's getting in there. More news. Cowboys right tackle La'el Collins was suspended from the NFL for trying to bribe? What? For trying to bribe the league's drug test collector. Gotta read this out. Hold up. This is interesting. Hold up. Let me see. I might just pull this up. Because we might need to read this together, people. This might need to be like one of those, like, we all get together and just find out what the hell is going on out there. Anyway, let's Let me pull it up. If you guys haven't already, by the way, as I pull this up, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. So let's do that. And pull this up. Where is it? That's interesting. Oh, here we go. I got you. There it is. All right, so... Or there it's not, I guess. It doesn't like me. It just doesn't like me. Okay, there we go. Seriously? It's not going to show up? Okay, it doesn't want to show up. Anyway, but so as my technical difficulties are world renowned at this point. Them's the breaks, I guess. There we go. Finally got it. Dallas Cowboys right tackle La'el Collins was suspended after trying to bribe the league's drug test collector. Players cannot be suspended for positive marijuana tests under the NFL's collective bargaining agreement, but Collins' issue was multiple missed tests and trying to bribe the collector. So, oh my God! So you're trying to bribe the NFL's official drug test collector? Not a good look. As wow, I just pulled up my other thing. Wow, whoops, happens. The NFL initially was preparing to suspend Collins 5 games for his actions, but the NFL Players Association, aware of the intended 5-game suspension, helped negotiate a reduction on what would have been a 2-game ban. What? However, Collins appealed the suspension, and the appeal was heard by an arbitrator appointed jointly by the league and the NFLPA. The arbitrator not only rejected Collins' appeal, but also ruled that based on evidence, the suspension should be increased. So, because he appealed this 5-game ban for trying to bribe this drug test collector, which, if it's true, dude, just accept it and move on. Because he appealed this, not only did they bring in an arbitrator, and not only did that arbitrator rule that he's still guilty, but he gave him the 5-game ban anyway. Oh my God. Yo, I swear to God, don't know if he did or not, but it looks like he did. And if you did bribe your drug test collector for the NFL, like, come on, just accept it and move on. Collins' lawyer is attempting to appeal of the arbitrator's decision. They might actually get this moved up to a 7-game suspension if they're not careful. But the league sources believe the suspension, which was announced on September 10th, will not be reduced. Both the NFL and NFLPA declined to comment this weekend when contacted by ESPN. Collins served the first game of his suspension last Sunday over the charge. Bro, you already out with. It's 2 games. It's 2 games. You just didn't. You could have just sat there. 1, boom, halfway over. This week, boom, halfway over. Tomorrow, you're back in practice. Oh my God. Oh, the privilege to be a football player. Oh, the privilege. Anyway, I don't. Well, you know what? I don't have the privilege of having an eternal voice. So I'm gonna call it a day here for Real Take Football Talk. Thank you guys for joining me. Join me tonight for Extreme Rules, WWE Extreme Rules live here on YouTube. My live reactions, live streaming, or watch along of the show are gonna be right here. 8 p.m. I believe is when it starts, so I'll be here for that. So check that out. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and enjoy the wonderful, wonderful world of football. I'll see you guys.